Salutations everyone, and welcome to another Overwatch 2 video where today we're going to talk about the perks. We've had plenty of time with them. We've all probably tried most of them out that we wanted to, and we've even gotten a patch changing a lot of them, as well as a couple of quality life issues, but outside of like the Ayari one, nothing super big of note. Just a whole lot of perk changes. The obvious one being Bastion, just having him be the super dominant DPS we already know is a problem, and having him unkillable is just a really, I'm sorry, it's a stupid mistake. I don't know how you make this mistake. We've already seen what a meta looks like when Bastion is super OP broken. So why would you invite that energy into our lives again? And also, he couldn't die. Nothing could kill him. He was just way too strong. Unless a Reaper was point blank pelting headshots into him, he was just unkillable after the second perk. But let's talk about the perk system as a whole, right? We didn't know what kind of impact it was going to have because for a decent portion of the game, you aren't going to have any perks. And for the most of the game, you aren't going to have that second perk. And that second perk is typically where it's going to be the better perk. Not in all cases, I would argue. Take a look at Ramattra. I think his shield first perk is way better than the other two second perks. And his other first perk, the little extra little bloom of damage, little extra nanite things, actually better than I thought it was going to be, better than I think anybody thought it was going to be. But the shield lasting longer totally threw all of like his uptime breakpoints out of the water when it came to when does he have his shield up and when does he have Nemesis up. Because like the only way you can kill him is when he doesn't have one of those two up, unless he's like not behind his shield for whatever reason, or you run through it and do a bunch of damage and he's just in his regular monk mode. But they actually buffed it to where not only does it last longer, but it's bigger. Super disagree with that. I feel like he is the strongest tank right now. Unfortunately, we no longer have, as of this video, we don't have any way to track data on the game when it comes to like pick percentage, win percentage, and things like that. Right now, there isn't a way to do that, and that's unfortunate. But we could all tell Bastion just winning every game was super stupid. How Torbjorn was already the best DPS in the game, and the perks just made him better. Not only better, but better than the perks made most, if not all, of the other characters. And he got some nerf to his turret, which I think speaks to that, to be him being really strong. But also, when he gets the deploy turret on his minor perk Craftsman, it takes the nerf away. His ability to throw it on walls is really strong. His ability to get to the extra level while using his cooldowns is also really strong. So Torbjorn has like all strong options and they're all good. And I don't know if any other character can say that. Reaper has gained a lot. He was already like I mentioned in the last video, how DPS were in a bad state, and if perks can fix that. So far the answer is no, because they gave most of the best perks to the characters that were already doing the best and that were the easiest to play. I got some flack for that, with people saying the easy to play characters being really good is good because most people are casuals and they're going to pick easy characters. And like, I get that, but also the easy characters can't be the best characters at every level. The best characters in bronze shouldn't also be the best characters in silver and diamond and pro play. That speaks to an unhealthy game, and I feel like the perks definitely haven't addressed that, at least in the DPS category, where we're still seeing Reaper absolutely dominate, Torbjorn absolutely dominate. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Torbjorn was in like the 60+% win rate, because it's just insane what he does. You can't kill him, and he does more damage than anything, and he's an issue. He's a potential issue. I don't think we've ever been in a prolonged like high level like pro situation where Torbjorn was too strong, but you know, we've seen every character have some time to shine. But we know there are certain characters in certain metas, both at high end and low end, that we know this game is in a bad spot if these characters are too strong. If Reaper's too strong, that's not good for the game, and we've seen it. If Torbjorn's too strong, that's not good for the game, and I think we've been seeing it for most of the past year. Sombra, if she's too strong, we know that's not great. That can take over the game. And I feel like regardless of what everyone's saying, like the perks actually make Sombra worse. For where the game is right now, she's super freaking good. And I've used her mostly since the recent patch where her perks got some buffs. But I feel like even with the previous perks where everyone would say don't pick them, they make her weaker. I disagree. I disagree. I felt like she was super duper strong even with those perks that people said weren't very good. I do agree with the white hat no longer being interruptible. That just makes a lot of sense. But maybe the range penalty was a fine trade-off. I don't know, at the prolonged exposure while having less range. I don't know. She's very strong. When I've played her, she's been insanely strong. When I've played against her, she's been insanely strong. Bastion, I don't think I need to say anything more. We know when he's super strong, it super breaks the game. We've seen it not just in the previous patch, but in times beforehand. We've seen Sojourn be too strong, and giving her 25 extra ammo, it's a bit much. Even if she's not performing well right now, which I don't know if she is. We don't have the data. She hasn't historically been for the past year or so, but definitely a lot better the higher you are in pro play and stuff, as she historically has been. But 25 as a first perk might be a bit much. Might be a bit much because of the trickle-down effect that it does have. We've seen what the game is like when Soldier's too strong. So far, it doesn't seem like the perks have, made him an issue. But he was an issue beforehand when, like I said, Reaper, Junkrat, Torbjorn, they were just dominating everything. Symmetra, I think, got better. I think her perks are pretty good. I mean, you get the turret, right? Isn't that the first perk you get is an additional turret? That's just additional damage. That's additional ult charge. That's additional kills. I don't see anything wrong with that. Thanks, Mei, for blocking my ult, but it's fine. I think this is a play of the game anyway, thanks to Sombra. Junker Queen has seen, I feel like, a bit of a boon. She got some buff to her bleed damage, and I think that's fine. I think she's in a pretty decent place. Maybe she's too strong. Not too sure. I feel like, again, Ramattra is the strongest. Reinhardt, if he's too strong, that can be an issue with the game. Not that people have said it's been an issue recently, but when the game first came out, you needed a Reinhardt. You lost the game because he was the only good tank, unless you were, playing triple Winston or whatever it was back in the day. We've seen what the game's like when Roadhog's too strong. That's bad. We need to keep an eye on things like that. I don't super duper feel like he was too strong with these perks, but it's something we have to be aware of. It doesn't matter when he gets a buff to a perk and when he gets new perks, when it's a new season or things like that, when the devs just want to change things up to change things up. There are certain characters that we know we have to keep an eye on. Any character can be an issue. Even take a look at historically bad characters, Lifeweaver, Kiriko, Hanzo, Cassidy. Even those characters can theoretically be too strong. We just haven't seen it, and we don't know what it would potentially look like. What kind of perks would they need to have? But as far as perks supplementing weaker characters and just improving quality of life has been somewhat successful for some characters, but overall, it hasn't gotten the impact that I would hope for, especially in the DPS category. Like I mentioned in my last video, are perks going to fix the DPS? No. It made the really easy, really strong DPS characters even better. And that I can't condone. Not to say that like Junkrat's perks are too strong. I don't feel like they are. The trade-off of losing an ammo for a faster projectile, I feel like is fine. The faster tire, I don't like. I tried it. Maybe you love it, but I don't feel like it's the right way to go. Torbjorn, all of his things are insane. Sombra, I think, she's very strong right now. Venture, that bit of range to her primary fire is everything, right? Like, she might not even need anything more than that and still be incredibly strong. But obviously, Bastion got better, Pharah got a little bit better, Tracer got a little bit better, Symmetra got better, and she was already in a good spot. And if you want to argue against that, I would love to hear why. But I've seen a lot more Symmetra since the perk system, and she's been very strong. I used her a little bit. Having an extra turret it's a bit more power then you should think, I think, a tier 1 or you know, the first perk that you get should be Widow. She hasn't ever been too strong. I don't care what you say, but her perks didn't really help her all that much, and I think that's good. Hanzo, his perks are bad. I'm sorry, they're all bad. You know, the faster fire rate or whatever, it's like you don't really notice it. Maybe it's just kind of good. So like, I'm fine with keeping something like that, maybe, because it's like, it's kind of better, but not super noticeable. That's fine, but not all of his perks should be like that, and that's what they all are. The scatter thing, useless. The jump cooldown, completely useless. And then obviously, all 4 of Cassidy's perks are completely useless. I don't want to hear complaints about Sombra's perks not being good when they're not as bad as people were saying, and all of Cassidy's were bad. And we haven't been in a place where Cassidy's ever been too strong, I feel, especially when we have characters like Reaper, Junkrat, Torbjorn, completely dominating the game before and during the perk system. Ashe getting that extra couple ticks of damage after 2 ADS shots. As an Ashe player, I love it because it's super strong. It might be too strong, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it isn't too strong. I don't know. We don't have the data. All of Mei's seem pretty good, but she'll always be underrated. I'll have her own video on that, as well as my own Sombra video talking about them. But yeah, obviously this is our first go around with perks, and they've made some adjustments, like you know, little change to Brigitte. That's not the one I would go for, but it makes it better. The Yari ones make sense. Juno one doesn't matter. The Lifeweaver, I feel like he benefited from perks more than other supports. Maybe not as good as Zen. I've seen a lot more Zen. Zen being very strong, and I've been able to go back to Zen, and being able to heal more with that second perk on your target it feels good, but I don't know how much of an impact it's making. But he's definitely doing a lot better now. Lifeweaver doing a lot more damage, even getting more on the Super Bloom with the latest patch is kind of crazy. And Mercy definitely benefited, maybe, you know, average or slightly more than some of the others, and also getting a buff to that. So I feel like we've seen more of her, and she can always dominate a game no matter where you are. She's just a hard carry that nobody sees. She's just invisible to people. So let me know what you guys think about the perks. We've gotten some changes, most of them really good, in the right direction, but like buffing Ramatra's perk that was already too strong, I feel, is a misstep. Making mistakes like Bastion, Infinite Heal, Never Die leaves the bad taste in my mouth. And because like that shouldn't be possible on paper, that's insanely OP, and anyone with a 2-digit IQ can figure that out. But I hope it gets better. So far, it hasn't really improved things. It's made some things a little bit more fun, and some things feel a little better, while not making characters necessarily stronger to be better than they were before, but just feel a little better, or you know, maybe a little bit better in the stat area. And that's kind of fine, and where most of the perks should end up, not where they've landed the likes of Torbjorn and Reaper, in my opinion.